Hello, everybody. My name is Janice Knox, and I'm here to share with you something so amazing that I think that sharing is the only way that I can get this message out. Let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I'm a wife, a mother, a physician, and an author. And I have three children who turned out to be the most amazing people in the world. How many of you understand what it means to be so busy that you worried if you were giving your kids quality time? You worried about who are they going to turn out to be. You worried about being a bad parent. You worried about making decisions between your job and your children. Well, I had all those worries and all those struggles. And I often ask myself, how did I get in this position where I'm working this much and I'm responsible for these little fellas? Let me tell you a little bit about me and how I got to where I was. I was the fourth of 15 children growing up in California. That's right, fourth of 15. There were 11 other folks behind me. And as you may know, that when you have that many kids in the world, you do a whole lot of cooking, cleaning, and babysitting. I got my first child when I was 5 years old because mom knew to delegate. Dad worked all the time, mom shoved out kids and right into our arms. So I got the first one when I was 5. I got my second child when I was 13 years old. And that was the last one I got before I went to college. So I had a set of children from the beginning. I learned how to relate and take care of them, do all the physical things that they needed, feed them, bathe them, clothe them. And those are the superficial things kids needed. But back to the story. To get out of those jobs, what I did was go to school. I loved going to school. But there was something fishy about those teachers. I'm telling you, I was a bright little kid and I knew to pay attention. There was something very fishy going on, and I wasn't sure I was comfortable with it. But what I saw was the teacher would take some of the kids, the white kids, and she'd put them in one corner, and she would leave all the rest of us on our own. And then she'd go back and she'd work with these kids. Now, I didn't get this. And the reason why I didn't get this, because we all played together as friends on the playground. But when we got to the classroom, we were separated. And I felt, wow, why not me? How many times have you felt that you've been looked over, skipped over, and you knew that you were just as good, you knew that you were just as smart, but nobody picked you? Well, that's how I felt. I did know enough to keep on watching and listening. And what I saw or came to understand was the teacher was preparing them for college. That's right. She was preparing those kids for college. The rest of us were invisible. We didn't have a future in college. Here was someone deciding my future before I even knew I had a future. It was at that point I decided that I needed to decide things for myself. I was going to go to college and I was going to be a success. So I started going to school 6 days a week and would have gone 7 if they had 7 days. But going to school 6 days a week also got me out a whole lot of cooking, cleaning, and babysitting. By the time I walked across the stage at senior stage, I graduated with more scholarships than anybody else, and I walked right into UC Berkeley. And from there, I went on to medical school. So that's how I got to being the physician. Now, by the time I finished medical school and into residency, I had my first child, and then my second and my third child. And I remembered those lessons I learned as a kid. How many of you, when you talk to your children or see your children, you sort of visualize yourself at what point in life you were there and what they must be thinking? Well, that's what I did. I visualized that and thought, what do I do to help these kids understand how important it was for them to decide who they were? How important it was for them not to let a teacher or a coach or a friend or not even your parents decide for you who you are? How many of you have known parents who live vicariously through their kids, to the kids' dismay? I know a lot of those people. But as I went through my training and went through my profession, I hesitate to talk about my children. And I hesitate to talk about them because I didn't want people to think I was boasting or bragging. Because when it comes down to it, it was more than just me. It was my paying attention, being alert, understanding, watching. And as a physician, you know I've talked to hundreds of people. So I've interviewed tons of people. I know how to draw out of them what I need to know to help make them better or to do better. I know how to get them to talk and how to get them to feel good about themselves. It didn't hurt that I had a degree in psychology either. But I used all those things to talk to my children because I knew the time I spent with them was so valuable. And even though I may not spend a lot of time with them, time that I knew I couldn't get back, the time I did spend with them, I made the most of that time. And what I taught them was the most important thing of all was that you are your master. You decide. You are responsible. You make decisions for yourself. You know what, people? All these things are teachable. They're all teachable. People always ask me, well, how did you do that? Did you get the manual? No, I didn't get the manual. But you know what? We all live what I call a living manual. We just need to pay attention. We need to learn from each other. We need to teach each other. And that's what I did with my kids. I taught them that the most important thing that they had to do in life was to see who they were. And after that, we just filled it in with education. My kids didn't get to watch very much TV. It's not that I prohibited it. They just had a very defined time to watch television. I told them that if they had no schoolwork to do, it couldn't be a school night, that they could watch TV. Well, as you know, Monday through Friday or Thursdays were school nights. And then Friday night, they had to prepare for their sports. They played lots of sports. That was cheap insurance. But by the time Saturday night, the only night that was available for them to watch TV, they were so tired of playing their sports, all they wanted to do was go to bed anyway. What a blessing. I knew not the blessing that that was. But what I watched was how creative they became. They made things. They drew things. They played music. They listened to music. They read. They wrote stories. So their creative instincts developed. How many of you have seen your kids just take off and fly when you just let them go? Kids will be creative. They will fly if we give them the room to fly. Well, with that knowledge with my children, they turned out to be great people. And this is who they are. My oldest is a boy, and he's a practicing attorney. My two daughters went to medical school together. They were classmates. They're now third-year residents. One's in North Carolina, and one is in San Diego. And my youngest one that's in San Diego is not only a third-year resident, she is the chief resident. I'm proud of them for their accomplishments, of course, but I'm most proud of them because they're great people. They're humble, they're kind, they're loving, and they like the parents. And you know, once again, I don't tell these stories to brag. I tell them to share because all this stuff is teachable. This is teachable. If you have worries or concerns or fears, then sign your name below. Give me your email address and your name and join us for the free webinar that we're going to give on how to be a great parent for your children when your job demands so much time. I love sharing, and this sells out pretty quickly. People sign up pretty quickly, so get your name in right away. But if you're interested in some of the techniques and strategies I used, believe me, it took strategy to stay one step ahead of those kids. It took strategy for me to feel like, yes, I'm doing a good job. And you can do that too. So once again, sign up below, your email address and your name, and join us on the free webinar. And I, once again, love talking to you, love sharing, want the best for you. Janice Knox. And I'll see you on the other side. Thank you.